Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Ed Miliband, the grift that keeps on grifting, and he's about to cost tenants an average of £4,000. Everyone who privately rents or even off council rents is likely to be forking out around, on average, £4,000 because of Ed Miliband. So I hope all you people in rented housing are saving up for Ed's tax. It's not called a tax, of course, but when it's money mandated to be paid by a government, that's exactly what it is, isn't it? You see, Ed is bringing in a series of proposals that will uplift houses to higher EFT standards. And this will apply to all houses, particularly rentals. Now, in order to do this, of course, as it's a legally binding thing, the work will have to be done where appropriate or where possible. And that cost was previously, according to Ed, going to be met by the landlords. Now, it's going to make the rule that the landlords could not pass on this cost. They've now had to admit, and his own department had to admit, that this is now no longer the case because of two important little factors that they failed to take into consideration. Number one is that it would be illegal to ban landlords from passing this on because it is a government mandated upgrade that they must do, is therefore a legal and legitimate business expense that must be covered by the functioning of the company. Because if the house is owned by a company, then the company is obliged by law to pass on costs. Otherwise, it's failing to do its best by its shareholders, thus breaking company law. If it's owned by an individual person and it's a mandated thing that will cost an individual money, then that person can actually sue the government for the cost, as it is something that was not brought in by the wishes of the property owner. And if they have the opportunity to do it, then that's fine. For you see, otherwise, the standard rule of law is you can't create a rule and then predate it. And so it's like saying, oh, well, all future houses have to have this, fine, and all future houses have it. You can't then force that back onto older houses, for example. And a great example you could use is cars, where say, oh, all cars must have this particular safety feature going forward. But it doesn't mean that cars that were created before that was brought in are suddenly off the road. Not at all, because their cars were legal at the time they were created, kind of thing. But because this is not going to be the case with this law, then they can't force it down. So they've looked at this and they've realised, legally they can't do it. And so landlords will simply just pass this cost on. Let's be honest, landlords were always going to pass this on anyway, regardless. So how are they going to do it? Well, let's say it's £4,000. They know the tenant hasn't got £4,000 in a lump sum. So they'll just say, look, we'll put, £10 a month onto your rent, and we'll do it for that for 10 years, right? 480 a year, do it for 10 years. That's your £4,000. You take in your inflation and whatever. It's going to be £5,000, but it's there, cover it. So they're going to put this £10 a month on to people's rents over 10 years, maybe, or it might be £100 a month for 4 years, or whatever they for a year, £100 a month for a year. But you know that whatever they put up, it never will come down. Doesn't matter what they do. If they're putting the rent up to cover it, that rent is never going to come down. And so long-term tenants are going to be worse off. They're going to lose the £4,000 initially, but it's going to lead to a higher rent, and then the rents will stay high. And this is all because, hey, we've got to make net zero a thing so that I get a medal and that the world will be still pretty shitty because China and India. Got to bankrupt people. Got to make them even poorer. Got to make their lives an utter misery, just so Red Ed can knock one out and feel good about himself. Oh, look what I've done. Prick. Absolute prick. It's unenforceable, isn't it, this? Oh, only landlords are going to pay, not going to pass it on. Rubbish. Absolute bullshittery. Who's got £4,000 lying about? And if you did, you wouldn't be, I don't mean you wouldn't be a tenant, but, there's not many people who pay rent for rental accommodation are going to have like £4,000 lying around that they're going to be perfectly happy in paying their landlord for so that the landlord can upgrade their building. Just not. Ed Miliband lives in a world of complete delusion, doesn't he? Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Bye.